America Limited, the first on the land.
All right, so it's time for Fersan in the Field, real issues, real solutions. And no, they're not discussing coffee nor cocoa this morning. We're talking about Irish potatoes. It is, though, International Coffee Day and National Cocoa Day. And we say good morning to Sajae Jones, agronomist out of Zone 3, and m.gooden, agronomist out of Zone 4. Sajae, good to have you. How are you doing? Good morning, Sajae.
Hello, good morning, Althea. Good morning, listeners.
How are you?
Happy to be here. I'm not bad, and you?
I am great. Good to have you on with us. m.gooden is agronomist out of Zone 4. Murphy, good morning.
Good morning, Althea.
Murphy with the two last names. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good to have you on with us. And in fact, let me start with you, Murphy, because I wondered what is the level of importance that farmers should place on Irish potato production?
Okay, now that's an excellent question. But what I want to look on, I'll say, is that whenever we take a look at the global production of Irish, what we're seeing is that they annually we basically produce on an international level at around 300 to 370 tons of Irish annually. Right now, the countries that basically played the major role of this entails India, it entails China, and also Ireland. Now, when we analyze our Jamaican local market, we see that we tend to produce close to about 20 million tons of Irish annually. Now, when we analyze the market potential out here and also the annual demand of this, we see that we potentially can produce up to 45 million tons annually. Now, this is just 45 to 50% close of what we want to be. So with that said, the need is therefore there for us to want to produce even more. And when we also take a look at our Jamaican dishes, you see that Irish, as one of those, means staple. Now, when you look at how much Irish we consume on a yearly basis, the need is there for our farmers to maximize on this out there.
And so essentially what I hear you saying is that we are producing less than we should be producing. What is accounting, though, for the fall off in production that we have been experiencing?
No, what we're finding is that a lot of farmers are shying away from the crop due to some issues they're experiencing. Now, some of these issues might be nutritional based, some might be pest and disease, and some might be abiotic condition, that is the environment. And as a result, we find that we're not producing as much as we should be.
And we do have the potential to produce far more than we are actually producing.
Far more.
All right, so we need to really do a deep dive now and try to figure out what is going on. All right, Sajae, let me bring you into this conversation. Clearly, land preparation is a very important part of this equation. Can you just share with us what challenges, if any, the farmer might face in land preparation? In fact, how important is land preparation in getting good results in terms of overall Irish potato production?
Yes, of course. I couldn't have said it better myself. It is one of the most important aspects when it comes on to Irish potato production. So what we'll do this morning is just take a look at a few things. Site selection, drainage, plowing, and tilling when it comes on to land preparation, right? So when you think of site selection, what we want to do is avoid areas that you may have planted members of the Solanaceae family, such as your peppers, your tomatoes, and tobaccos before. Why? Because those areas will be ripe with the same diseases that affect the Irish potato if not properly cleared. Now, we're not saying that you shouldn't clear your land and just move to another one. We're saying if you have other lands, you can rotate away from that land and plant the Irish there. The crop tends to perform better in higher elevation, for example, your Christian or your Guys Hill, but it has been seen to perform well as well in also low-lying areas such as Spring Plain and Eberly Park. Right? Your crop will require a 12-hour daylight period. adequate water supplied and well-drained soil. Another thing you want to take into consideration when selecting a site is somewhere where you can have a 10-degree difference in the day and nighttime temperature, right? We'll move on to drainage. What we want to do is, what we want to do is remove the moisture from the soil. Why? The moisture can reduce the ability of the roots to uptake and transport the essential nutrients. In fact, what we want to shoot for is something like a 45% of the soil having minerals, 5% having organic matter, water and air being split between 25% each. You want to have an area where you don't have excess moisture because you can have bacterial and fungal diseases proliferating in that area. You can have excessive growth of it because of the moist environment. When you think about plowing, one of the things you want to make sure that we don't have occurring is a hard pan.
Mm-hmm.
What is a hard pan? It is a impervious layer of soil, a tough layer of soil, normally 4 to 8 inches deep. What this will do, it will stop the water drainage. This can cause soil erosion. This can restrict your root growth. And we all know what happens when you have restricted root growth. That nutrient uptake again will be inhibited. You won't have the plant anchoring as it should. This usually forms where the plow stops. And note well, whenever you have conditions such as now with the heavy rainfall, this is a time that hard pans are easily formed. When it comes on to your tilling, you want to ensure that your beds are properly refined, as the tubers can become exposed to light if the soil is not properly refined. And whenever you get exposure to light, solanine can form, which is poisonous.
That's a lot we're unpacking this morning, and I'm sure the farmers are very appreciative of it. Land preparation clearly an important part of the process, not only how you prepare the land, but paying attention to what is on the land or in the soil is also going to be critical. Sajae, what about the pH level of even the water? And we've been having quite a bit of rain in recent times. How do these weather events impact pest population in Irish potato production in the country? Oh, well, that is not, that's not yours, Sajae. That is actually Murphy, right, Murphy? Murphy? Have we lost Murphy?
Yes, I'm right here.
But you have to answer, else I won't know you're there. All right, go ahead, Murphy.
All right, so when you take a look at the unfavorable soil and water pH, firstly to consider unfavorable soil pH. Now, one of the things that we want our farmers to understand is that ideal soil pH is at about 5.5 to 6.5 on the pH scale. Mm-hmm. Now, what you'll find that anything outside of this range, you'll find that the growth rate and the productivity will start to decline. Now, what you'll find happening is that the plants will have an issue when it comes down to the absorption of certain nutrients. Now, there's something that I always say when I go to my training sessions out here, and that is the soil is alive.
Yes.
Now, if the soil is alive, it's important that we treat the soil as such. Now, when you take a look at one of the components of the soil, which is the microbiological aspect, you see that if the pH is not within the right range, what you'll have happening is that you'll have disrupted pH balances, and as a result, the microbial life will be very poor. And as a result, you'll find that there'll be a decrease in the soil fertility. So pH is important when it comes down to the soil, not only when it comes down to the chemical component, but also the microbial aspect as well. Now, another aspect when you think about unfavorable soil pH is that you'll find that the crops will become more susceptible to diseases. Now, think about it. If nutrients like calcium, for example, which builds the cell wall of plants, is not being absorbed by the plant, you'll find that the plants will easily be affected whenever the conditions are favorable for diseases. Now, just to take a look at the water pH now. Now, when you read most pesticide labels, it will indicate that most of these products works best at a pH of 5.0 to at about 7.0. Now, what you find happening is that when you use water that is not within this range, it will basically compromise the efficacy of this product. Therefore, you are using the product and you're not getting any use at all from it. Now, there's a lot of farmers that I know, oftentimes, they'll purchase a product, and when they use it, they're not getting the results, and then they'll call me, and what you'll find happening is that whenever I test the water, oftentimes the water is alkaline. Okay. Now, because of this, you find that the product is not doing what it's supposed to be doing, right? Now, one final thing when it comes on to water pH. Now, some farmers will use tap water out here. And if you know anything at all about chlorine, chlorine by itself has a pH of 13 on the pH scale. Now, if the pH is 13 and the ideal range that you want the chemicals to work in, which is 5.0 to 7.0, what you find happening is that you're going to be wasting a lot of time and a lot of money in this area.
All right, so that is very important for farmers to recognize. I would imagine then, Murphy, that is why there is so much emphasis from your organization on the two issues that you just highlighted. One, knowing the condition of the soil and knowing the pH of the water. And you do have instruments that you use to measure both, right?
Yes, we do out here.
Well, tell us about the importance of the soil tests and the pH tests that you do.
All right. Now, when it comes on to assessing the soil pH, we at Newport-Fersan, we basically have two routes that we can take. Now, the first and most important, and I must put important, is the usage of a soil test, the benefits of having a soil test done. Now, when a farmer does a soil test, on the test result, you'll see where it says your soil pH. Now, if in any case, if in case your soil pH is outside, and again the range of 5.5 to 6.5, we have products known as soil ameliorants. And what these are, one is calcifersan and one is sulfursan. So in any case where your pH is out of range, either one of these products can be used. One to bring down the pH, which is the sulfursan, and one can be used to raise the pH, which is the calcifersan. Now, those are the products. Now, another service that we offer that can assess soil pH is we also offer on-site visitation where we bring up a particular instrument. And what this instrument does, it basically tells you the pH on spot. So, for example, a farmer might have an acre land. He wants to know the pH before he starts to plant. If I should come by and I have the instrument, I can basically test the area at different points at random, and that will basically indicate to me what the level is. Now, where water pH is concerned, we do have our pH meter, which is a digital device, and with our pH meter, we have our citric acid as well. Now, because most water in Jamaica is alkaline, the only chemical a farmer needs is the citric acid. Now, the citric acid is literally acid. So, if any case you use your pH meter and you test the water, you find that it's out of range, which is again 5.0 to 7.0. What the citric acid will do, you find yourself using only a small quantity, and that will basically bring down the pH of the water that the farmer is using.
All right, so gentlemen, we're on the break. Let me just clear those commercials, and then when we come back, we're taking a look at some of the other solutions that are there. You've touched on the whole issue of how it is that you address or do the testing for the pH and the importance of the soil testing, but let us touch on the solutions to the issues that the farmers are facing in terms of Irish potato production when we come back from the break. We are inside the feature Fersan in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions, and we're taking a look at getting to a successful Irish potato crop. What's the route to take? We have with us agronomists Sajae Jones and Murphy Gooden. Sajae is out of Zone 3 and Murphy is out of zone 4. And issues such as inadequate or improper land preparation, the pH of the water, the use of an incomplete or nutrient management program that is not balanced can contribute to poor results in terms of production. And so we have to guide our farmers to the process of getting the best results for their crops. All right, so Sajae, let me bring you back into the conversation. What steps has Newport-Fersan, Jamaica, taken to aid farmers in their land preparation process?
All right. So before we go there, I just said, we just want to remind the farmers that a nutrient management program is very important when it comes to it, and not only a nutrient management program but a balanced one. So just take a minute or two to talk about that first. So the law of the minimum is one of the things you want to look at when you think about a nutrient management program. And what this states is that the plant growth is limited by the plant nutrient element that is present in its smallest quantity, all that has been present in equal or adequate amounts, right? So what this is simply saying is a chain is as strong as its weakest link. So we need to ensure that all nutrients required for the growth of Irish is present. Now, as you asked before, when it comes on to steps taken for farmers to aid in their land preparation process, what we have is the field appraisal tool. And what this tool encompasses is the observation of the environment, the topography of your land, the landscape that you're in, the temperature, the climate, the infrastructure that you have in place for farming. We'll have tools such as the soil compaction meter, which can be used to test for soil for hard pans and for proper tilling. The water and soil pH tester. We have microscopes that can be used to look for other pests and diseases. And we also have, taking into consideration the hard pans again, the Potato-Lizer Starta not only supplies nutrients, but it also supplies organic matter, and this will encourage the growth of earthworms, which are natural organisms that will go and break up your hard pans.
Mm-hmm. I just got a message from Trelawny, so let me just throw it in. It says, I can get sufficient rainwater. What would you expect the nutrient uptake would be by using rainwater?
All right, so there are cases where what we'd want to look at, if I'm understanding the question correctly, is the use of rainwater to fertigate if you're using a fertigation system, and also to apply your chemicals, right? So if we're talking from the chemical aspect, there are cases and lots of instances where we have gone out and tested rainwater harvested by farmers, and we find that it is still falling within the alkaline range. So what we recommend is that for any application of a pesticide, we want to test that water pH and amend if necessary. When it comes on to using it for water supply, you can go ahead and use it for that.
All right, thank you so very much. What options, though, do you have in place for to continue to help farmers to treat with any issues they might have in terms of nutrient management?
All right. In terms of nutrient management, what we recommend is that you take one of two routes that we provide. The flagship route and the route that we recommend without reservation to everyone every time is the precise nutrient management system approach. This is the approach through which you take a soil test and we understand all the elements of your soil to take into consideration your pH, your organic matter content, your CEC, which is the cation exchange capacity. This speaks to how well your soil holds on to different nutrient levels. So the phosphorus, the potassium, will know the levels of them, whether they are higher or low, the parts per million. We take all of these into consideration in crafting your program and providing a blend specific to your area.
Right. So it's important then to know what is happening on your specific farm.
Yes, it's very important.
Yes.
It's very important. To each his own.
That's
Every
right.
soil can be different. You can have a soil that's less than 100 feet away from your soil and it's a total different composition.
Mm-hmm.
The other approach would be the improved nutrient management system. What this one is, it's derived from soil testing. So we have a generalized idea of what is happening across the island, and we also have we also know what the Irish potato crop requires to grow. With this in mind, we'll provide now blends from that to supply the nutrient. We call this improved blends. So the improved blend for the potato would be the Potato-Lizer Starta and Finisha. Now, using this blend, we'll follow the 4R principle, which is the right source, right rate, right time, and the right place. So for the right source, it would be the Potato-Lizer Starta and Finisha. And this blend is a chlorine-free blend, as the potato is sensitive to chlorine, and high rates can decrease the yield, and the chlorine can also decrease the quality of the fruits, right? The right rate would be 2 bags upon planting, and then 5 bags, that's 5 big bags, the 50 kg or the 110 pound bags for molding, right? The time would be, as I said, at planting, and then 30 days after planting. And the right place would be whenever you're planting it, you place it in the bed that you're doing, you scratch it, you put the fertilizer in, you cover it with the soil, then you put the seeds on top and cover the seeds.
Okay, and so the techniques that are used are also very important. Let me bring Murphy in. Murphy, in light of our current agricultural landscape, what steps should farmers take when addressing their pest issues? Because the truth is that the changing weather patterns, climate change has brought with it heavier rainfall and hotter and drier conditions, and both can lead to a proliferation of pests.
Yes, Altia. Now, as you just mentioned, because we are basically facing from 1 degree onto the next, when it turns in too dry and harsh, you find that it is really wet. Now, in cases where the time is dry due to drought condition, what you'll find is that there'll be an increase in insect pest population for most. Now, when it gets really rainy, you'll find that your fungal infections and even bacterial infections will basically be on the rise. Now, when it comes down to this, we want to encourage our farmers to have an IPM approach, which is basically an integrated pest management system. Now, what this is basically the usage of either 2 or more practices that they can use to reduce pest population. Now, when we analyze this, we understand that the farmers need to have a monitoring system in place, and they need to know how to identify the pests. Now, one of the ways in which farmers can learn to identify such pests is by attending our training sessions, where we basically touch on pest and disease management, where we basically highlight the different insects and how to properly identify them. Now, the farmers can also put into part of their practices a cultural approach, and that is basically with the usage of like something like your crop rotation. Now, a lot of farmers, especially in my zone, Altia, that's basically in the Westmoreland, the Trelawny area, they practice a lot of crop rotation and don't even notice it. Now, in areas like, for example, the Pinnock-Shafton area, you'll find that a lot of farmers will plant Irish around this period, and later down into next year, you'll find that they'll be planting a different crop from a different family. Now, in some cases, you will basically have your chemical control. Now, with your chemical control, it's important to know the type of pest that particular product targets. So, for example, when we analyze Irish potato, we know that they tend to have a lot of issue when it comes down to the early and the late blight. Now, Newport-Fersan have put into place products that farmers can use to prevent and control these problems. So, for example, we have our Victory Plus, which has the active ingredient methoxyl that can be used to treat your early blight. We also have the Clearway product, which consists of mancozeb and carbendazim, and this is excellent when it comes on to treating these diseases. We also have for insect pests the product known as Spectra and First Strike. Spectra consists of lambda-cyhalothrin and profenofos, and that basically targets aphids, thrips, mites, leaf miner, leaf hopper, and pests belonging to the Lepidoptera species. Now, there is a lot of issues that we can touch on, and one of the things that we also note with Irish potato, because it's a part of the Solanaceae family, it tends to suffer from issues associated with that family. So like crops like your hot pepper, your sweet pepper, your tomato, the mosaic virus is one of those issues that we tend to notice with Irish potato as well. Now, Newport-Fersan, we have under our portfolio a product that is known as Star. Now, Star is the only viricide on the island that can be used to prevent and control viruses associated with Irish Althea. Not only that, Star is basically an organic viricide. So it will basically, the post-harvest interval is basically 24 hours. As it relates to other aspects, you can also explore the physical and the mechanical approach. That basically is the usage of your unpicking to basically get rid of the pest, or you can even use barriers or use cover rows or traps to basically physically prevent the pest from accessing the field. So we definitely want our farmers to have this viewpoint out here.
All right, excellent information being shared. Gentlemen, we're on the break. Let me just state that, and then we will come back and wrap with you. We're rounding out our conversation now with Sajae Jones, agronomist out of Zone 3, and m.gooden, agronomist out of Zone 4. We're inside the feature first and in the field, real issues, real solutions. And this morning, our topic is route to a successful Irish potato crop. Murphy, let me come back to you, because in addition to the issue with pests and diseases, the farmers are also having to make sure that they have the right pH level. And I just want you to go back to that and touch on that and just help the farmers to understand what can be done.
Okay, Althea. All right, now when we speak of pH level, we're basically looking at two different areas. We're looking at the water pH and also the soil pH. Now, when it comes on to applying your pesticide, farmers, it's important that you understand that your pH level for the water has to be between the ranges of 5.0 to 7.0. Now, the reason for this, anything outside of this level or this range will basically compromise the efficacy, that is the ability of the product to do what it's supposed to do, right? So it's important that the farmers understand the importance of a pH meter and their citric acid. Now, the citric acid is what's going to help you or assist you in bringing down the pH, since most water sources in Jamaica tend to be on the alkaline side. Now, one of the things that I would also like to address out is that a lot of our farmers, I've heard farmers say to me that, what if I get the rainwater? What if I'm using the rainwater? But something to also consider is the storage container that you're using for the rainwater. Because I know farmers who have concrete tanks. And if you know anything about concrete, it's basically high in calcium. And what calcium does, it basically increases the pH level. So oftentimes, you will basically store the rainwater in these containers, and as a result, you're basically having the same issues. So it's important to get your citric acid and your pH meter, farmers. Where it is related to the soil pH, we want our farmers to understand that Newport-Fersan offers two main services to know the pH level of the soil. One is your soil test. So once we test the soil, when the test result is back, it will tell you the pH level. Now, in any case, if there's a case where your pH level is not within the right range, that is 5.5 to 6.5, we also sell our soil ameliorants, and these are basically the calcifersan and the sulfursan. So the calcifersan, it basically assists in the case where your soil is too acidic. It basically brings up the pH level. And the sulfursan, it basically brings down the pH level. So I can tell you out here in areas of St. James, in the Cambridge area, you find that in those areas, the soil pH tend to be very acidic. In areas like Seaford Town, those soils tend to be on the acidic side. Now, not only that, but Newport-Fersan also offers a service of doing on-site pH assessment. And this on-site pH assessment, what we do is that we'll visit the locations, and we have a particular instrument that will basically put into the soil, and what it does, it basically tells you on spot the level or the range that your pH level is at. So it's important to know your pH level, because it doesn't make sense, farmers, you are utilizing fertilizers and your pH is off, right? It doesn't make sense how much fertilizer you put on, you're not getting the full benefit of your money.
All right, and I see Trelawny with another question here, and he's asking if the limestone in Trelawny, if that gives a challenge in terms of the pH level for potato farming.
All right, now when it comes on to limestone, now when you take a look at the chemical component of limestone, it is actually calcium carbonate. And what calcium carbonate is what it does to the soil over a period of time due to weathering conditions, you find that limestone will basically raise the pH level, this calcium level. Now, in most cases out here, when we do a soil test result, you'll find that in many cases, if the calcium level is high, the pH level will be high. And the opposite can be said about the sulfur level as well, in most cases. Now, this is important. That's a very important question. And one of the things that we also encourage farmers is that we can sit and we can speculate and we can guess, but the only true answer is when you actually do your soil test.
Very, very important there. Sajae, any final message that you want to share? Murphy, I'll come back to you for yours.
Yes. Now, what we want to say is that knowing what to do and doing what you know are two different things. So we want to encourage the farmers to take advantage of the services that we offer and reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to schedule a visit and come out to your farm free of cost and assess whatever you may have there and advise you as the best way forward.
All right,
you can reach our office at 876-948-9078.
Repeat that number.
876-948-9078.
All right, and final words from you, Murphy?
Yes, out here. All right, so my final words are for farmers who are interested in having a soil test done, they can reach out to me since I'm in the western area, that is Trelawny, St. James, Hanover, and Westmoreland. They can reach out to me at the contact number 876-550-9183. That's 876-550-9183.
Do you have any activities that are coming up that you want to mention?
Yes. Now, just to list a few of them. All right, so in areas of Warsaw, Trelawny, that is October 10th, October 8th at 10 a.m., I'll be doing a training on Irish potato at the United Pentecostal Church. That's in collaboration with RADA. I'll also be doing a training session October 9th at 10 a.m. again, which is at the Wilson Run Baptist Church. And again, that will be an Irish potato. Another training for farmers in the Spring Garden area, I'll be doing a training on October 16th at the Seventh-day Adventist Church, that is in Spring Garden, on Irish potato training. Two last final trainings. I will also doing a training at the Jamaica Holiness Church, that's in Lime Tree. The topic will be an introduction to Newport-Fersan nutrition management and crop production. That will basically be this Thursday, and it's in collaboration with the Jamaica Social Investment Fund. And last but not least, another training at the Jamaica Holiness Church in Lime Tree, and this date is October 10 at 3:45 p.m. And this is also in collaboration with the Jamaica Social Investment Fund.
All right, so quite a bit of activities, and I'm certain that there are similar activities and training exercises taking place in other parts of the country in other zones as well. Thank you both for this morning. Very informative.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
take
you for
care.
having us.
A pleasure to have had you with us. Sajae Jones, agronomist out of Zone 3, and m.gooden, agronomist out of Zone 4. Let's just take a quick word, and then we're wrapping the show.
Fersan in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions was brought to you by Newport-Fersan Jamaica Limited, the first on the land.